Good afternoon, students. So today we are going to start with the lab program 3. The lab program 3 says that program to draw a color cube and spin it using OpenGL transformation matrices. Okay. So how this program you are going to execute, what are the primitives you are going to write, everything I'm going to explain you now. So what is the question? First we'll go to the question. The question is, again I'm just repeating it. Program to draw a color cube. It means that you have to draw a cube. Okay. Once you have done with the cube, then you are going to spin it using your OpenGL transformation matrices. Okay. So now I'll just go to my Dev C++ because already you can see my screen now. I'm just going to open this Dev C++. I have the program already I have executed. So I'm just going to start running directly. Suppose if you are new to this, then what you can do, go for the file, go to the new, click on project, click on console application, C++ project, then you give your project name. Okay. So all this activity already I have done. So I'm just going to open it directly. So this is my color cube program. Fine. And also once you have written your program, then you have to go, then you just right click on this project name, then you have to go to the project options, then here you can see the parameters, click on parameters, then you have to add these three parameters. Okay. So once you have done that, press OK. Already I have done that also. So now this is my program. It is a very easy program. It's not a difficult program. Individual sentence, individual primitives I'm going to explain you now. So let's see how the display or how the output will be. Okay. So I'm just going to run the program now. You can see. So I hope you can see my screen. So this is the output of your program. Okay. So if I'm clicking repeatedly, then you can see the color is getting changed. Okay. So as why how the color is getting changed, because I have given some mouse functions. As I'm clicking the left button, right button, you can experiment all that. So whatever I'm giving, you can see the color is getting changed and also it is moving. Okay. So now we are going to execute this program and we are going to see how and what are the primitives we are going to use. Okay. So now starting from the program, whenever we will start the program, first where we should go, we have to go first uh, to our main function, right? So this is my main part. So before starting to the main part, you have to know that here in this program code, you are using a little concept of your animations and your modeling concept. Okay. And here we have used OpenGL concept and GLOT concept. Okay. Only animation, if you want to do, there are some different softwares are available. By using that you can do the simple animations, but here we have written the hard code so that we can see how by using these GLOT functions and OpenGL function we can give the animations and modeling environment to our any of the object. Okay. So here I have used many of the glot functions to create the cube, and also I will let you know how you're going to store and how you're going to draw these 3D objects. Okay. By using this gl begin and gl end. So now here whenever we will start dealing with any of the coordinate values, first we have to learn how in this 3D space you can plot your x, y and z values. Okay. So that is first very important thing. Once we will understand that how we are going to plot the x, y and z values, then in any 3D programming concept you can use and you will be very familiar to do all the directions of any of the axis you can whatever you are choosing to draw. Okay. So here if suppose if you want x axis to go left, you can make it as left, because always we will use the x axis as right side, and y axis will be in the upside, right, and z axis will be in the back side. How it looks like, suppose if I want to draw, then how it will be, this is my y axis, then again if I want to draw, this is my x axis which is moving towards my right, and my y-axis is moving towards up, and my z-axis always moves towards my backward. So this is the way. By using this way, I used to draw, or we used to do all the programming, or we used to draw, or we used to plot always the x, y, and z coordinate system. So today also we are going to do the same thing, and here we are going to use the wall coordinate values, the screen coordinate values, and where you want to place the position uh, of your cube, or wherever you want to place the, how, what is the size you want to give, everything we are going to see now. Okay, so the first thing here you can see, let me erase this. So here, okay, so now here the first thing you can see, I have used here glot create window. So here what is the meaning of that? Here I have written some sentence, here I have written rotating a cube. So in this glot create window, whenever our window will get create, in the top side here also you can see it has been written something lab program 3 and all. So in that way it's going to give you the name of your program. Okay, and also we it's like how it's going to display, and how it's going to what is a work procedure of all these things. We have in our module 5 one term called, I'll just write down here so that it will be easy for you. The name is called like backface culling. Okay, so that is a name, backface culling. So this is a method. Okay, so by using this method we can enable our inside and outside face of our cube. Okay, so that this is a mechanism. By using this mechanism we can see the back side of cube, we can see the front side of cube, or you can see any side whatever you want to draw. Okay, and remember this backface culling is always dependent on your vertex points. Okay, so it depends on your vertex points. So here you have marked that our polygon or our cube was moving very fast. Okay, and that speed and all we will discuss afterwards, but our polygon was moving in which direction? Have you marked that? It was moving in the direction of anti-clockwise. Okay, it was moving in the direction of anti-clockwise of your screen. That you have to, because all these things you might get in your viva. Okay, so it was moving your anti-clockwise direction of screen. Okay, so that you need to mark. So how we are going to do that, we will see that also. Okay, so here you have seen that I have been used this glot create window just to show the name of the program, which can be visible to all the user, those who are using. And also I have used this backface culling. Okay, this mechanism where it can help me to call my glot main loop functions. Okay, here you can see the glot main loop. So my backface calling mechanism is going to call this glot main loop function. Okay, why it is calling? Because it's going to enable, here you can see enable is there. It's going to enable that how much of depth I can see the polygon, like back side, front side, all the depth test I can do. So here you can see these three primitives are interrelated. Okay, so if you have the polygon in global structure, then how you are going to see that? You have to imagine that you have a cube, and the cube will have some around 8 vertex point, right? 8 or 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, 8 vertex points. Okay, so and each of the face of your cube, that also we are going to mark it. So what are the things it's going to have in together? It's going to have 8 vertex point. So now I just wants to I'll just show you that part also, how the vertex 8 vertex points, how to remember that vertex points. Okay, that also I have one idea, I'll let you know that. So now that you understood that these three primitives are interrelated. So next, coming to your, suppose here I have written glot display function display. So this is my display function which I have written here. We will check that also. Here one more is there, that is spin cube, that also we will check. Okay, let's go to there. 1 minute. Okay, so now here first I will go to the, I can, yes. Okay, first we will see the color cube. Okay, so here you can see I have called the color cube also. The color cube is inside, spin cube is there. So I have written here directly the color cube by giving the void. Okay, so we will see how we are going to define this. Why I have not called this color cube? Because this color cube inside polygon is there, and this polygon is directly connected to this polygon here. Can you see this one? Okay, so if I want to come over here to generate my polygon, so I want a b c d, the suppose 4 vertex points. So I have to start with gl begin and I have to end with my gl end, and each everywhere I have to give my vertex point. So here I have given vertex 3 fb, vertices a, then what is says B, then what is says C, then what is says D. Then why I have used this color also, you can understand that if you want to give some particular color to your vertex point, before that vertex point you can use this color 3AB, and you can give this color A, color B, color C and colors D. Okay, so that I have used. Now you can see the normal. What is it? This is a new primitive type for you all. So what is the meaning of this GL normal 3FV? So this normal already I have explained you in my last class. Normal will give you always the perpendicular lines. Okay, so it means that whatever the vertex point I am generating, it will be a normal, like normal to the plane. So it will create the 90-degree. So in my polygon I want a cube, so cube will have the 90-degree. So that's the reason I have used for all the vertices normals. So you see now it's very easy to remember. Just write down void polygon, enter all the data variable names. Then you have to create the GL polygon, end it, and enter all these things. Okay, so that is very easy to remember also. It's not difficult to remember. Got it? So now next I'm just going here, as I have used polygon. So here I'm going to write this. So now you can ask me like, can we remember all this number 0, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 7, 6? No, you are not going to remember this. I'm just letting you know how you can do this. So for that I'll just open my uh, word file. Now you can see my word file. So whenever you will start writing any program, you have to draw this cube. Okay, any of the cube, you just draw this and just give the name of each of the vertex point. Randomly you can give. There is no meaning that how I have shown you now, in the similar way you are also going to give. That is not necessary. So you are going to give the name. You can start 0 here also. So just give the names 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, as I have started with 0, so I got 8 vertex points, so 0 to 7. So now I have to give the face name, whatever you can see in my program here. So these all are my face name. Okay, you can see 0, 3, 2, 1. Just remember that. Now I'm going to write here. Okay, so how I'm going to write? What is the first face I'm getting? 0, 1, 2, 3. I'll just write down that. So 0, 1, 2, 3. That is my first face I got. Okay, I'll just increase the font size. Okay, so now what will be my next one? You can see the next one. This side you can see 1, 2, 6, 5. I'll just write it down. 1, 2, 6, 5. Similarly, you can write this side also. What I have to write? You can also write with me. 4, you can see the vertex point. 5, 6, 7. So this back side face, I got it. Next, I will just write down this side face. So I'll just write it down. 0, comma 4, comma 3, comma 7. So this is my another one. So I should have one more also. So I'll just write down 2, comma 3, comma 7, comma 6. Okay. So like this, you are going to write all the face name. One more is also there, the top view. So that will be 0, comma 1, comma 5, comma 4. So how many? 6. So one cube, we know that one cube will have 8 vertex point and 6 faces. All the face names I have written here very easily. The same combinations you can see over here in my program. Same thing is there. Don't worry that why 0 is here, 3 is there. That is not a problem. 1230 combinations you can find here. 1230. Okay, so however you write, but it has to start from one point, and it can end with another point. That's it. Okay, you can write in any combinations. So now I hope this part also you understood how to write this polygon and how to draw this. So it is very easy. You see, this part I have completed and it is very easy to write. Okay, next thing we will see. So now here, if I go little down, okay, so now let me go to, okay, here you can see depth test, and you can see um, here also I have used the depth. Okay, let me explain you about the depth test now. Okay, and also we have used the GL, as we have used colors. So here we have used the GL colors 3FB, and because as both the see here, I'm going to explain you this line now. Okay, so the display part I'm going to explain you now. Okay, so now that display part is already called inside here. Spin cube I have told, no, this one I have told you, right? Polygon creations over. Now the display part we'll see. So how the display part will look like. So this is my display part. So now we'll see the first line: GL clear, GL color buffer bit, then GL depth buffer bit. So what is the meaning of all this? Whenever we want to clear any of the depth or color buffers, that time we need GL clear primitive. Okay, once we will use this GL clear primitive, then we can start drawing anything, any of the object. So what is the first thing we are going to do? First thing is we will save our current model view, how we want to see, okay, in a matrix form. Okay, so how we are going to save that also? For that we have to use the like we have to use some of the matrix functions. Okay, by using that matrix functions, we can save the current view, then clear the previous view, then upload your current view. So that is the thing we are going to do. But if I want to tell you in technical way, in graphics way, then first you have to push all your matrix by using your push matrix into the backside. Then you are going to start translating your current matrix. Okay, and if, as it is here, rotations of a cube or spinning of a cube, so here you have to use a rotation matrix. So that also you are going to implement here. So this is the meaning of your color and depth buffer bit. Next three things you can see: GL rotate F. Okay, GL rotate F is the keyword or is the primitive. So here, as I want to rotate something, I have to use the degree. Okay, so without a degree I cannot rotate. So how to calculate the degree? In terms of theta value. So here you can see 0. 0 in the sense this is x-axis, theta 1 in the sense y-axis, theta 2 in the sense z-axis. So now how I came to know that it is x-axis? Here you can see the three values whatever I have given. So that three values, how it is going to say you that this is the rotation values. So this means that rotate by, okay, so rotate by the degree whatever you are giving. And how it's going to rotate? It has to rotate on this degree or in on this vector values. So in this vector value you have x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. Your x-axis is active, you can see 1.0. That is the reason this theta value is going to rotate on your x-axis. Here, this theta value is going to rotate on your y-axis. And here, this theta value is going to rotate on your z-axis. So this is the three things we have to remember, because continuously our our cube was rotating. So that is the meaning of your GL rotate. And here you have to remember that one more thing. Suppose if you want to rotate your current vortex point, then you have to give the current, like what to say, like a color. If you want to give the current, whatever the vortex x-axis is rotating now, and you want to give the color to the x-axis, then you have to use the, here how I have used the color 3b. So that time you have to use for that vortices points. So that what will happen, whenever each axis will rotate, it will take that vortex point and the color will get changed. Okay, so that is the reason color things we are using just to change the current vortex colors. Okay, so that is the meaning of that. So now here you can see, again I have written here color cube. So here color cube I have called. Okay, so once I have called the color cube, it will just go inside this, and I have already explained you this part, right? Next, just GL flush. You know GL flush is used to like clean all those things. Next is your swap buffers. Swap buffers in the sense you are always swapping your front buffer and back buffer, because you can see the front side of cube and back side of cube. That is the reason we have used here swap buffers. Okay, now next let's discuss about the current here spin cube, because theta value you have used, right? But what is the value we have not passed, only we have written the theta. So that we have to explain now. So that part will be your spin cube. That spin cube already been called here inside your main function. So whenever I will go to my spin cube here, that time this theta will get called and it will go inside this display part. Okay, so no need to write this display again and again inside the main function. That is not necessary. So here how the theta value has been called, you can see. So always the angle, the total angle, we are taking it as 360 degree. So as we have taken 360 degree angle, so here I am going to rotate. If this is a speed or that you are going to experiment, I'm not going to tell you now. So here these things, if the theta value is greater than 360 degree, then you have to maintain the axis value and you're going to make it as less, because we have the whole circle value is 360 degree. It cannot be more. So suppose if you have user point of view, if you have given any of the value degree, then you are going to reduce it. Okay, then you can display the like again the cube, and here it is going to maintain the speed and it's going to maintain the angle. Fine. So this is about your spin cube. So that part I have done. So spin cube done. Now let's see the mouse function, because here I have written the mouse function. Here I have written the mouse function. So this mouse function is an extra thing I have been used. So here I am going to use the button. Okay, it's a variable name. I'm going to use a state. State in the sense it can be down, up, right, left, anything. So that state value I'm going to pass. Then the x-axis and y-axis value. I have to use here only the if condition. If the button equals to left button, like in your mouse, as you have written already mouse here and you have called over here mouse function, you can see. So directly it will understand that you are going to use your mouse. Okay, that's the reason today I have used the mouse to show you people. So here the button, if it is equal to left button, if you are pressing, then the state will be down, like your object will move down. Okay, on which axis it will move down? On zero axis. Zero axis in the sense in x axis. And if the button is in the middle button, if you are pressing, then also your object will go down, but in your y axis. Then the next, if the button you are pressing as right button, then the object will move down, but it will be in your z axis. So this is the mouse functionality we have utilized here. Okay, if you want to remove also, it is fine. You can remove and check it out without that also it's moving or not. You can experiment on this also. Now next, let me go through the reshape function here. So this is my void, my reshape. Inside that, I have to give the width and height of a like object, how I'm going to see. I have told you that I have to visualize my project, my object in what to say, uh, like in a wall coordinate system or in a screen coordinate system. So for that, I have to apply the viewport. So my viewport always carries x-axis, y-axis, width, and height. Okay. So here I have been passed through my matrix mode, GL projectional view, and I made all the matrix value as identical. That's why I have used node identity. So my matrix will be 1. And if W is less than equals to H, then what you're going to do? This is a formula has been applied over here so that it can balance your viewport and it can show you the object properly. Else you are going to use this formula. Okay, so here the coordinate values minus x, y, and values will be changed. And here also similarly you are going to apply the values. Then you can see the object in a model view. Okay, so this part also I have explained you. My reshape, mouse function, spin cube, then display part I have explained you. So here theta value already we have initialized, and here I have we have given the total number of axis equals to 2. So it can take 0, 1, 2, x, y, and z axis. Okay, this is the initialization part. This is your color cube part, which already I explained. This is your polygon part, which already I have told you. And yes, here how you're going to give the vertices point, okay, and how you're going to give the normals. Normally before we used to write here only inside this, but as we want to make the program very simpler way, first we will declare all these vertex point, normal points, and the color values, and we will just pass that values here. That's the reason the first value whatever has been given, the variable which has been initiated, that is your a, then b, then c, and d. In that way all the values has been written. Here I have declared the array 0 and 3. Okay, so here you can see the values. These values actually you have to remember, and we are going to take the unit vector as 1, but it is also not difficult. There is a way to remember. Whenever you will transfer these values, let's consider only the vertices values now. X, y, and z values will be there. All these things you just place over in your matrix. Okay, then you can see the it is very easy to remember. Minus and everywhere 1.0 only the value, only you have to remember where it is minus, where it is plus. Okay, so once you will write it in a matrix form, you will come to know how to give the minus values, how to give the plus values. There will be a pattern to remember. Once you will place all these values in a matrix form, you can automatically you can remember this. Okay, for a you just place it and check it out. It is very easy to remember. So this is whole about your program to spin the cube, and already I have shown you the like output also. So in that way it is going to run, and you can balance the speed also. You can, if I'm pressing the mouse button, it's giving me the changes of x and y axis. You can make the speed less and check it out how really the mouse button is working or not. Okay, I hope you people have understood today's class. Thank you.